Welcome to the special meeting for Thursday, October 29th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Lee. Councilman Scaringi.
Present.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Present.
Councilwoman Riley.
Present.
Councilwoman Friedman.
Present.
Councilman Burns.
Present.
Councilman Strawn. He told me he's logging in shortly. But
I'm here.
he's here, okay.
I'm in.
President Scanlon? Present. Okay, that's all set here. Introductory ordinance 20-94, consider finance. Councilman Strawn, please.
Lee, can you send me that agenda real quick? I apologize, everyone. My city email was not working and he had to send it to a different. I usually put the email up behind my go-to meeting.
Yes.
Or can somebody else read it?
Phil, I'll just read this, okay?
Okay, thanks, Mr. President.
An ordinance adopting the tax budget for the year 2021 as amended. Discussion, please. Comments?
Second.
Questions or comments?
Yes.
Oh.
Whoever spoke, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Mr. President, did you open that up for questions and comments?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I am also having trouble opening my email. It was working about an hour ago and now suddenly it's not working anymore. So I apologize that I don't have the memo about the process for reconsidering pages, so I might need a little bit of a refresher, but I was wondering if I could make a motion to reopen some pages for reconsideration.
You need to make a motion, please, to a specific page, please.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to please reopen pages 46 and 47, which is the contingency lines.
You need a second on that, please?
Second.
Lee, let's do a voice vote to see if we want to open a page here. Councilwoman Friedman, are you interested in opening other pages too?
No, I think these were the only ones that I was looking at reopening.
Okay, Lee, do a voice vote, please. And we're going to vote now to reopen the page. We need 5 votes to reopen the page here. Okay, so this is for pages 46 and 47. Councilman Scaringi. Sorry, Councilman Scaringi, can you say that again? Is he muted?
Lee, I'm sorry. Was I muted?
You were, yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
My apologies. Nay.
Okay. Councilwoman Resnetti?
Nay.
Councilwoman Riley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman?
Aye.
Councilman Burns?
Yes, I think that I would like to hear what Councilwoman Friedman has to say. So I would vote yay to open that.
Okay.
Yes.
Councilman Strawn?
Nay.
President Scanlon? Nay. That's 4 votes, nay. Scaringi, Resnetti, Strawn, and Scanlon. Other comments?
Yes, Council President, this is Councilwoman Riley.
Yes.
I might have to go off camera if I'm delayed too much. I think it may be taking up too much bandwidth. However, We discussed having an open and transparent process, and we had an overwhelming response to the public comment period. And in order to hear the recommendations or the decisions of our constituents, our neighbors, what have you, although the vote has already been cast, it would have been prudent to at least hear what was recommended, what was being sought. And basically, by this vote, it appears that no further discussion can be had. Is that what I am to infer?
Who are you asking? You're asking me?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Who
So,
would like to respond?
I'm sorry?
Are you guys having difficulty hearing me? If so, I'll decrease my bandwidth.
She's asking you.
You're asking, all right.
I think.
So, all right, so let me refer back to Councilwoman Freeman. So what are you interested, let's start this question. What are you interested in looking at in the contingency pages?
I'm happy to share that. I'm wondering if afterwards we might be able to reconsider that motion to open it up. I want to echo Councilwoman Riley's sentiments that if we're not going to even open up the pages to reconsider anything after that unprecedented outpouring of public comment at the hearing, I do have to admit that this does seem like it's kind of just for show and we're not actually listening to what our constituents have to say. What I was going to open for discussion was the fact that due to the fact that we had 2 hours of public comments overwhelmingly having to do with reimagining what community safety looks like, I wanted to look at these contingency pages with the unfilled positions. And the reason why is that we have 8 probationary police positions here. Now, these are presumably they don't exist unless we get the state or federal funding. And all but maybe a couple of comments were talking about other initiatives that would increase community safety. There is a mandate that came down from Governor Cuomo that we need to have a committee for police accountability. And we don't yet know what that committee will recommend in lieu of throwing more money at to fund more police officers. I think it would be prudent for us to take some money that otherwise would go to funding more police officers that are currently unfunded and maybe create a community safety line or something like that, because we don't know if that government mandated or governor mandated committee will maybe ask us for or come to the conclusion that what would best serve the community would be like for example, a mental health counselor, or maybe a position, a coordinator at the gang prevention committee or something like that, where I think since we know that we are going to have to make changes in the future, instead of dipping into funds maybe from the general fund in the future, we have the community safety funds here. And we had so many constituents call in for 2 hours. We listened to people that were saying that this isn't what they want their tax dollars to be going to, that this isn't, this isn't what's increasing community safety, right? That people have problems and then they call the police and the police show up afterwards. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that police the way that it is maybe part of community safety, but it absolutely cannot be the be all end all of what we spend all of our what we look at as community safety. I just think that this is a perfect opportunity. We have this money here and these officers that are currently in the contingency fund, and we know we're going to have to spend this money in the future. So why wouldn't we put that aside into a community safety line that we can then allocate based on what this Police Accountability and Community Safety Committee recommends? That's what I would have liked to have said had the pages been opened. But again, I just have to reiterate my disappointment that it couldn't be more clear what the community has been begging us for, and we are kind of openly admitting right now that we're not listening to what they said and what they're asking for.
Other comments, please?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
For whatever this is worth, I don't know. I have sat here and listened to our community members calling in and sharing their thoughts about the budget, about funding the police and so forth. And I appreciate that, as I want to be able to hear from everyone in our community, and I want to hear the different viewpoints. Unfortunately, the different viewpoints are not coming through. And so when I hear about community safety and the overwhelming voice that has come through against funding and supporting the police officers, I want to disagree with that, respectfully so. See, these are the folks that are calling in who are not afraid to call in. What I have seen is also, in addition to the phone calls and the discussion that has occurred, what I've also seen is a unprecedented response from with emails, phone messages, Facebook messages, whatever you want to call it, of folks saying, we will not call in and give our name and number because of fear of repercussions. And so I'm trying to balance both and truly listen to the community's needs when I'm making these decisions. It just feels like it's troubling. I have to say that. It's troubling to me that folks are afraid to actually call in with a different viewpoint and express it. And what's even more troubling to me is that in many cases, those folks are not from my district. And so that is an indication that they're equally concerned about approaching their own elected officials to represent them. And so what I'm hearing here tonight is really what we've been hearing over the last few meetings. There is a group of people, and I respect their opinion, okay, that leans towards, well, basically, it sounds like there's no support of police. And fine, so be it. But what I also know is that there are folks out there contacting me daily saying, can you please listen to our voice? So I just wanted to put that out there for whatever that means, because I'm hearing about community safety, and it couldn't have been more loud or whatever, however it was worded about what the community wants. I want us to be very careful, because if I recall correctly, just the last meeting we had, there was a caller who said to all council members, arming the police will not protect you from the woken citizens. And I made a note of that. And I didn't really need to, because I got text messages and emails regarding that afterwards, expressing tremendous concern. So I think that we can sit here and talk about how we represent our community, or we can really take some action that shows that we're really representing the community and not just a specific group. So I just wanted to share that, because I too received unprecedented correspondence from folks regarding this the other night. Thank you, Mr. President.
Other comments, please?
Yes, this is Councilwoman Friedman.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think that this move is kind of, regardless of what of our views, or who, I mean, okay, so let me back up for a second. It's hard to represent an entire city, right? There's 7 of us here, and the 7 of us are supposed to duly make decisions on behalf of 40,000 people. That's hard to do. And of course, each of our districts are going to have different people in it, right? So my constituents might collectively have a different opinion or different views than constituents on the south side or the west side or whatever it is. But having said that, this seems like a no-brainer move that regardless, I mean, even just moving this money from the contingency line isn't even defunding the police. We're not taking away any positions or any officers. These are already positions that are in the contingency line. So theoretically, they don't even exist. And if we know that we're going to have to spend money in the future, it's not even about like what our views are about community safety or funding or defunding the police. This is something that we know we're going to have to spend money on in the future, and so it just seems like this is not even a fiscally conservative move to make, because we are then, if we don't take money from this contingency line, we're going to have to dip into other funds in the future, and that just seems silly to me to do when we know that this is on the horizon. We're taking money from positions that already are theoretically not putting them in a place that we know are going to that we will need in the future, and that will increase the safety of the city. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Sure.
If and part of this is us, continuing to move through this process and everything else. I mean, obviously, we're hoping to get this. We are hoping to get this funding, and if it's in contingency under police, and isn't that what we're exactly doing? Because if they're in some positions were unfilled, meaning they weren't even in contingency, those positions would be in essence cut. But if they're in contingency, they're on hold basically. Maybe I'm misthinking this a little bit. So isn't that exactly what we would be doing if we did that and take that out of there? Because then if that money, if the city's blessed with that federal money or other monies coming in, then we would already have taken that out of there when we had intended to include that in the original budget, had we had the revenue to do so. I guess that's kind of a question and a thought. I think it seems like that's exactly what we're doing, is taking money away from that. So I don't know why to me, that's not a no-brainer, because that money is earmarked for under contingency for those positions.
Other comments, please? Let me make a comment. In a city of 46,000, the 30 callers or so we had the other night it's not even a sample size to me. And by the way, I assume some of those callers were from 2 political organizations in town who are anti-police. So I know in my district, all I hear is positive for the police. And nobody's talking about defunding police or taking money from the police department in my district. So that's what I represent. I don't represent the whole city, but I know my district and they're pro-police like I am. So if is there other comments on this, please? So we voted not to open those pages. So is there any other pages you'd like to open? Council, anybody else like to open another page before we adjourn the meeting?
I have
Yes,
a comment.
Councilman Burns, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I have a comment in general about what we're all kind of talking about. Kind of my thoughts on the budget. And the mayor has given a small cut to the taxpayers, which I think in the time of COVID is nice. And we've been going through this process, but I don't think it has been given. I don't think the public really quite gets the fact that it's basically a $2 million deficit budget that we are digging into the general fund surplus, the surplus that the last mayor and Mayor David did a great job in giving us this surplus, which I think after we pay for the parking ramp, it'll be like $18 million. But we're going to go into it for $2 million now. So that's going to put that down to 16 million. And I know that there's a lot of families in Binghamton that know that once you start going into the savings account, it's very easy to really start going into the savings account. And the budget itself does not reflect that the COVID is going to continue. It reflects that there is no COVID next year. So we were down 500,000 in parking. We were down, in the water that we sell, we were down $1 million in sales tax. And chances are, the way that it's going with COVID, that we're going to be down the same amount next year, if not even more. So we're going to have to dig into the surplus more, maybe 2 more million to cover this budget. So I just want people to be that are aware of that we're getting into that, and the contingency, everything in the contingency. I wouldn't say the police. I don't want to cut fire or police. And what we were just what Phil mistakenly just said was that the positions that are not in contingency, that are just unfilled, not in contingency, are gone. They're cut. Well, it's not what the mayor told the police department, told the fire department. And so I don't want anyone to get that idea that they're cut. I didn't mean to get on you on that, Phil. I know that was a slip.
No, I kind of asked that as a question. I may have been incorrect, and I apologize for that. I didn't mean cut, but they're at a different level of contingency in essence. Right. But yeah, you're right. Right.
At any rate, I just want everybody that's listening in to know that it isn't a balanced budget. And the people that called in and all that. I mean, I wish I had a magic wand and I could heal all of our social problems that we have with the budget of the city of Binghamton. And I don't, if we cut all this stuff out, we still wouldn't be able to take care of those social problems that they were talking about. We would simply probably put it back into the fund balance and not borrow another $1 million. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I just want everybody to be aware that it might get a lot worse on this budget in the coming months. All right, thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, this is Councilwoman Friedman.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I want to echo a little bit what Councilman Burns was just saying, is that we, in the sense that we have to think of this budget in the context of looking to the future, right? That this is, we're proposing the budget for the entirety of 2021, or rather we're approving the budget for the entirety of 2021. And I understand there are going to be shifts that are going to happen because the future is unpredictable. We don't know, certainly nobody predicted this pandemic. And one of the things that we can be sure of is that we are going to need to find funding in the future for this police accountability committee's recommendations. And so I don't think it's not an either or, right? It's not that we slash the police funding and then everyone is kind of left high and dry. That's not what it is. We're still putting almost $13 million into the police department, and that's not including retirement and all of that, the other, auxiliary police funding. But we're spending almost 13% of the entirety of the city of Binghamton budget is going directly to the police department. So I don't think it's fair to say that this is, any kind of radical proposal or anything that comes even honestly remotely close to defunding the police. But it's just, this is a small amount of money that we can carve out to create to really fulfill the requests of this committee that is theoretically, I mean, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't heard a lot about it, but it's, you know, it's theoretically comprised of people on the police or in the police department, community stakeholders, religious and community groups. So this is going to be a community proposal. And to just say like, oh, we can't do this because it means that we're taking away police and that's unsafe, that will lead to higher rates in crime, is just not correct. It's taking a small amount from the police, but it's not even coming from the police budget, it's coming from the contingency line, and setting it aside so that we know where that funding will come in the future. It's not an either or, it's a both and situation. And I have to go back to say that, you know, I am frustrated that we're even having this discussion when the pages aren't even opened. Like, what, you know, we keep saying, oh, well, you know, I'm hearing from constituents here and I'm hearing from constituents here. So what is the point of the public hearing if we're not going to listen to what people are saying during the public hearing? Like, of course, we can't hear from all 45,000 residents in a public hearing. Of course not. But the fact of the matter is that if we refuse to even open the pages to discuss potential changes, we're just for show. Like, what is the point of going through this procedure if it's just for show? So my frustration stems from two prongs. The first is that this proposal of moving a small chunk of money from the contingency line to a community safety line is being framed as unreasonable. And also the fact that we, you know, to no fault of our own, but the budget process has been completely condensed, and people have been, you know, the department heads and Councilman Strawn, as the chair of the finance committee, have risen to the occasion to streamline this budget process as much as possible. But at the same time, we can't just do away with it. We can't just say, okay, we did the public hearing and then that's it, we got it over with. You know, we can't just be doing this for show. That's not what we were elected to do. And that's the other point of my frustration, is that we can't even come together as a council and reopen pages for reconsideration. That just seems wild to me. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Other comments, please? I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
No, you can't adjourn the meeting. You have to vote on the budget.
Oh, we have to do that. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry. So we have a voice vote. So now we're gonna
No,
vote.
roll call vote.
Exactly. All right, so we have a roll call vote on the 2021 budget as amended.
Mr. President,
Yes.
point of order, I believe someone needs to call the
Okay.
question.
Yep, you need a motion and a second.
Call the question.
Question McCall. Councilman Scaringi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman.
Nay.
Councilman Burns. Sorry, Councilman Burns, is your mic on?
Aye, sorry.
Councilman Strawn
Aye.
and President Scanlon. Aye. So that's 6 ayes, 1 nay, Friedman. Now I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Motion to adjourn the meeting, Mr. President.
I need a second.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.